Hey guys, welcome to the stream. If you're new here, my name is Brian Craig. Welcome each and every one of you to my stream here. If you're new, please subscribe, click that notification bell, and everyone who's already subscribed, please like the video. Well, sadly, we got a lot to talk about today. Biden has just, they say he's gone rogue. He is calling for regime change in Russia. Says Putin cannot remain in power, and I'm going to play this speech. This speech very well could be the beginning of the Third World War. You know, this call for regime change. When did regime change ever go well? I don't know. I don't know what the people around Biden are thinking, but Biden here, they're walking this back. They're saying it was unscripted. Well, he's the president of the United States. Just because it's not on a script for some speechwriter to write for him doesn't mean that it's, one, not policy. Number two, Biden's just incredibly irresponsible comments in Poland makes America look unstable, unpredictable, and also puts Putin, in particular in Russia, on high alert of what's going on here. This call for regime change. You see, Biden's problem, and we'll go through this speech. Biden's problems are many, okay? But what's caused this disaster in Poland, which very well could lead, and I don't like saying this, I don't want this at all, but this could very well lead to World War III, which would be war with Russia, would be World War III, because it would involve the NATO countries. It's just a disaster, just a complete disaster. And what's going on here with Biden, we've seen this happen, this entire trip to Poland, in itself, without anything else, is reason enough for our vice president, oh my gosh, Kamala Harris, God help us, for Kamala Harris and the cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment. Now, I was talking yesterday here on the stream about how he talked to those soldiers and was talking to them about what it's going to be like for them when they're in Ukraine. And I was telling you that Biden let out classified information that he has made the decision to send U.S. soldiers into Ukraine. This is a private discussion that they had around him and his staff, a briefing, a strategy session, and he goes out on TV and blabs it out. Now this thing about removing Putin, that's something they've talked about, but Biden's problem, it's all related to his cognitive decline. He has no filter. He has no ability to remember or know what is classified, what is not, what's a strategy session, what's really happening. But the bigger problem with him that's related to the cognitive issue is that he is always trying to prove that he's with it. He knows he's out of it. Maybe not all the time, but there are times when he knows he's confused, doesn't know where he's at, who he's with, what job he holds. There are times when he's with it, there's times when he's not, and there are times when he's with it and understands that he is not with it, if you get my drift. So Biden is always in a position of trying to prove to people that he's still got it, he's fit. This is what led to the disaster in Afghanistan. I've talked about this a lot, and it's very important. What happened in Afghanistan was Biden flew off the handle in a rage that was brought on by his cognitive decline and his confusion to show that he's the boss, that he's in charge, and he ordered an immediate pullout, leaving everything behind, including American citizens and Afghans that have worked with us for 20 years, on top of all the equipment. So this speech in Poland is very, very dangerous. And, we've got to ask ourselves, because we don't have a lot of options. Matt Gaetz is going to nominate President Trump to be Speaker of the House. He said that last night in the rally. By the way, great speech last night by President Trump. I was lucky enough to see President Trump in person last Saturday night, and last night's was just just amazing. Yeah, Carl, I covered that on yesterday's stream. Biden with the pizza, eating when the soldiers had no food. But this is very, very dangerous, this speech. Calling for regime change. Look at how well the call for regime change went in Iraq. You know, we were calling for regime change of a sort in Afghanistan before we went in. How'd that work out? Even Libya with Gaddafi, who was a terrible guy but keeping control there. Look what happened. Benghazi was a result of that. And these are third world countries. We're talking about a country that's, not first world in our sense, but they have a military, they have a nuclear arsenal. Regardless of the condition of their military, they're an adversary that has resources. Even though if there was a big blown up fight, hopefully we would. But we got, you got to ask yourself this, and this is, we got to deal with the situation is at hand and what options we have. This speech could bring this country to war yesterday. For what? Why? Because Biden has to prove that he's with it, and between this, the way he was with the soldiers, everything that went on in Poland, would you support, let me know in the chat room, yes or no? Here's the question. Would you support Kamala Harris invoking the 25th Amendment with the cabinet? And I know Newt Gingrich is right. He says she's the dumbest person ever to be vice president, and she's a disaster. But, these are some sad times we're in. She's our only option right now, right? Would we, this is a crazy question, and yes or no, would you support Kamala Harris invoking the 25th Amendment? Would we be safer with Kamala than with Biden, who flies off the handle like this? Believe me, Kamala Harris is a disaster. A disaster. She's got the mind. She's got less sense than a chipmunk. Okay? I mean, she's brainless. She's stupid. But this is unpredictable and dangerous. Yeah. I mean, it isn't, how bad are things? I mean, you guys think about this. How bad are things for us when we're looking to Kamala Harris to prevent World War III and to save us? No, this is very scary, people. I want to play this speech. I really don't typically listen to Biden and his speeches. I don't enjoy them, but this speech, since it's bringing us to the verge of war, the most dangerous speech ever made by a sitting U.S. president, I think we need to watch it. I think we need to watch it and find out what he says. It's not that long of a speech. I may not play the whole thing, but let's start it in the beginning. And if he wanders too much, I'll fast forward to the end. But I'm kind of curious about the state of mind that he was in when this happened. This is how all the wars began. Everything you see with this is how the wars began. So this is. I'm waking up to this frightened. This is not funny. It's not cute. This isn't a partisan political thing. This is our lives that we're dealing with here. It's our lives. So let's go
unjust war.
Let's go through this. And that's the president from last night, President Trump. But let's listen to Biden.
Unjust war. When Pope John Paul brought that message in 1979.
See, now this part here, Pope John Paul was from Poland, so he's hitting all the Polish heroes and icons trying to get some support.
The Soviet Union ruled with an iron fist behind an iron curtain. Then a year later, the Solidarity movement took hold in Poland. While I know he couldn't be here tonight, we're all grateful in America and around the world for Lech Walesa.
Look at that. You know what's bad. He can hardly get an applause for Lech Walesa and the Pope John Paul.
Reminds me of that phrase of philosopher Kierkegaard. Faith sees best in the dark.
Oh, my goodness.
And they were dark moments. 10 years later, the Soviet Union collapsed, and Poland and Central and Eastern Europe would soon be free. Nothing about that battle for freedom was simple or easy. It was a long, painful slog, fought over not days and months, but years and decades. But we emerged anew in the great battle for freedom, a battle between democracy and autocracy, between liberty and repression, between a rules-based order and one governed by brute force. In this battle, we need to be clear-eyed. This battle will not be won in days or months either. We need to steel ourselves for the long fight ahead.
Oh, my goodness.
Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Mayor, members of the Parliament, distinguished guests, and the people of Poland, and I suspect some people of Ukraine that are here. Well,
why don't they go back to Ukraine and fight for their country?
We are gathered here
instead
at the
of
Royal
us.
Castle in this city that holds a sacred place in the history of not only of Europe, but humankind's unending search for freedom. For generations, Warsaw has stood where liberty has been challenged and liberty has prevailed. In fact, it was here in Warsaw when a young refugee who fled her home country from Czechoslovakia was under Soviet domination came back to speak and stand in solidarity with dissidents. Her name was Madeleine Koble Albright.
Oh, Madeleine Albright.
She became one of the most ardent supporters of democracy in the world. She was a friend with whom I served, America's first woman Secretary of State. She passed away 3 days ago. She fought her whole life for essential democratic principles. And now, in the perennial struggle for democracy and freedom, Ukraine and its people are in the front lines, fighting to save their nation. And their brave resistance is part of a larger fight for an essential democratic principles that unite all free people. The rule of law, fair and free elections, the freedom to speak, to write, and to assemble, the freedom to worship as one chooses.
Yeah, meanwhile, try to pray in school. Try to find President Trump on Twitter while he's talking about freedom of speech.
Freedom of the press. These principles are essential in a free society. But they have always been under siege. They've always been embattled. Every generation has had to defeat democracy's moral foes. That's the way of the world. For the world is imperfect, as we know, where the appetites and ambitions of a few forever seek to dominate the lives and liberty of many. My message to the people of Ukraine is a message I delivered today to Ukraine's foreign minister and defense minister, who I believe are here tonight. We stand with you.
Oh.
Period.
What does that mean? I don't think so, Mike. I think it's frightening.
Kyiv and Metropole and Kharkiv of the latest battle in a long struggle. Hungary, 1956. Poland, 1956, and then again, 1981. Czechoslovakia, 1968. Soviet tanks crushed democratic uprisings. But the resistance continued until finally...
See, now this is, this is, what he's talking about. And this is Biden's speech in Poland, the speech that very well could start the Third World War. And I'm going through this because I think we need more than the soundbite. I think this speech is so important and that it's so dangerous and could take us into a war that none of us, I know here this morning, don't want to be involved in. He's talking about these Soviet advances in Eastern Europe that he just went through. And what was the U.S. reaction to that? Did we go to war over that? No, we did not go to war over that. We did not go to war with them over that. We broke them other ways over a long term. Zelensky in Ukraine I'm going to go back to the speech. Don't worry. It's not that long of a speech, but I really think we should hear all of it. I paused it. It's, this speech is going to have more effect on your life than any speech given by someone in a long time. And it needs to be heard, not just in a soundbite at the end where they're saying he slipped, because this speech is, the whole thing is consistent with what he said at the end. And I think that part at the end was meant to be in there. Maybe not in those exact words, but it was not a slip. Biden did not go rogue. But no, when the Soviets went into all those countries in Eastern Europe, we didn't go to war with Russia over this. Now my position is, and maybe yours is different, that's okay. Okay? And I'd like to hear from you. If you'd like to call me here on the stream, I have the number pinned right at the top of the chat, 561-453-0328. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Zelensky's corrupt. All of the Ukrainian government is corrupt, all right? Now, the people fine, but the government is corrupt. The billionaire that put Zelensky in office, do you know that he owned the network that Zelensky's television show was on? And they have a very tight relationship through that. Now, this is a bunch of nonsense. But what I support doing in Ukraine is supporting them, not with American personnel, but do like we've done with other allies. Equip them. Give them money. They're going to steal it. But give them money. Give them weapons. We have all the weapons you could possibly need that we could give to them, and let them fight on their own. Stay out of it. This idea of regime change, it's not going to happen. We called for regime change in Iraq. And the people in Iraq were all suffering, except for a very small group of the elite. But people in that country were being murdered regularly, pulled off the streets and tortured and raped. Girls get sent to school, parents never see them again because Saddam's sons raped the girls and killed them. Remember all these stories out of Iraq. And look what happened there when we called for regime change, when you had a nation of people that were tortured with zero rights. The people of Russia aren't in that position. It's very dangerous rhetoric here. All right, let's get back to this. We're playing the Biden speech.
In 1989, the Berlin Wall and all the walls of Soviet domination, they fell. They fell. And the people prevailed. But the battle for democracy could not conclude and did not conclude with the end of the Cold War. Over the last 30 years, the forces of autocracy have revived all across the globe. Its hallmarks are familiar ones: contempt for the rule of law, contempt for democratic freedom, contempt for the truth itself. Today, Russia has strangled democracy, has sought to do so elsewhere, not only in its homeland. Under false claims of ethnic solidarity,
Now keep in mind.
Invalidated
Okay. All right. Now keep in mind. All right. Keep in mind that Zelensky has outlawed opposition political parties in Ukraine. He has seized control of all the media and put them in one umbrella, one media outlet under him, Zelensky, the new Pravda. The Freedom Soup talking about the yelling. A lot of people talk about the yelling. People that are suffering from cognitive decline. Because again, in Florida, we have a lot of experience with this in Florida. We have the oldest population in America. Every other person has Alzheimer's or something in Florida. And people that are suffering from severe cognitive decline yell because they think it makes them look like they're with it. And also the yelling, when someone is confused and with the cognitive issues that come with whatever condition he has, with aging, like Alzheimer's and the other cognitive problems, the yelling makes them, in their mind, think they look like they're fit and with it, but it also helps give them a little less confusion where they feel a little, you know what I mean? They're like yelling at themselves like, wake up, kind of thing. It's just scary. It's scary, And the yelling is a sure sign of cognitive decline. All right, back to it. I'm playing this speech offline, and the next video that comes up is Trump, so that's why you keep seeing Trump every time I pause Biden.
Nations. Putin has the gall to say he's denazifying Ukraine. It's a lie. It's just cynical. He knows that. And it's also obscene. President Zelensky was democratically elected. He's Jewish. His father's family was wiped out in the Nazi Holocaust. And Putin has the audacity, like all our autocrats before him, to believe that might will make right. My own country, a former president named Abraham Lincoln, voiced the opposing spirit to save our union in the midst of a civil war. He said, let us have faith that right makes might. Right makes might. Today, let us have that faith again. Let us resolve to put the strength of democracies into action to thwart the designs of autocracy. Let us remember that the test of this moment is the test of all time. The Kremlin wants to portray NATO enlargement as an imperial project aimed at destabilizing Russia.
You know, this is an interesting thing, okay? You know, it obviously, I mean, in my opinion, listen, I'm no Madeleine Albright or Henry Kissinger, but bringing all these countries that have a long history of conflict with Russia into NATO seems to have been really a conflict, right? You know, and you know what's going on here this morning when I'm watching the rhetoric in the news, because I got up early and I wanted to watch the analysis that went on after this speech in Poland. This was no slip. Every portion of the speech is a buildup. And he's talking about how Russia shouldn't feel threatened by NATO. It's not an imperialistic buildup, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You've got the head of NATO, whoever the president of the United States is the leader of NATO, okay? Because there's no NATO without the United States. So you have Biden calling for regime change in Russia, but in the same breath saying that NATO is not a threat against Russia. He's threatening their leader. For what? For a country that 5-6 weeks ago, 99% of Americans could not find on a map. And today, probably 98% can't. On an unlabeled map, by the way. Anybody can do it in a moment if it's labeled. All right, back to this.
Nothing is further from the truth. NATO is a defensive alliance. It has never sought the demise of Russia. In the lead up to the current crisis, the United States and NATO worked for months to engage Russia to avert war. I met with them in person, talked to them many times on the phone. Time and again, we offered real diplomacy and concrete proposals to strengthen European security, enhance transparency, build confidence on all sides. But Putin and Russia met each of the proposals with disinterested in any negotiation, with lies and ultimatums. Russia was bent on violence from the start. I know not all of you believed me and us when we kept saying, they are going to cross the border, they are going to attack. Repeatedly, he asserted we had no interest in war, guaranteed he would not move. Repeatedly saying he would not invade Ukraine. Repeatedly saying Russian troops along the border were there for training, all 180,000 of them.
You know, what are they saying our troops are doing on the border of Ukraine right now, right? Helping with migrants, doing some training, moving things around. I really think it's important to hear this speech, because I know some people are saying, why are we listening to him? Because they're trying to spin to us today that his call for regime change in Russia was a slip. And I'm here to tell you that this entire speech is about regime change in Russia. The entire speech. Very dangerous.
There is simply no justification or provocation for Russia's choice of war. It's an example of one of the oldest human impulses, using brute force and disinformation to satisfy a craving for absolute power and control. It's nothing less than a direct challenge to the rule-based international order established since the end of World War II. And it threatens to return to decades of war that ravaged Europe before the international rule-based order was put in place. We cannot go back to that. We cannot. The gravity of the threat is why the response of the West has been so swift and so powerful and so unified, unprecedented and overwhelming. Swift and punishing cost are the only things that are going to get Russia to change its course. Within days of its invasion, the West has moved jointly with sanctions to damage Russia's economy. Russia's central bank is now blocked from the global financial system, denying Kremlin's access to the war fund. It's stashed.
Well, wait, they only closed down 80% of the banking, right? Only 80%. So what do? They just moved to the 20%. They haven't cut them off financially. That's a lie.
Around the globe. We've aimed at the heart of Russia's economy by stopping the imports of Russian energy to the United States. To date, the United States has sanctioned 140 Russian oligarchs and their family members, seizing their ill-begotten gains, their yachts, their luxury apartments, their mansions. We've sanctioned more than 400 Russian government officials, including key architects of this war. These officials and oligarchs have reaped enormous benefit from the corruption connected to the Kremlin.
I mean, this is insane, okay? Putin's bad guy. What he did was wrong. Invading Ukraine was wrong. Yeah. But you know what? Ukraine, they're bad too. Their government's bad too. You've got two gangsters going up against each other. And all these stories they're telling us is that Ukraine has the Russians on the move. They're defeating Ukraine's defeating Russia. Why do they need us? And he's talking about the yachts and the planes and everything that the billionaires in Russia have. How did he become a multi-millionaire? What business was Biden ever in that he's a multi-millionaire? I thought he dedicated his life to public service. He's held elective office since he was 27 years old, 2 years out of law school. Look at the corruption in this government with our people. They're all millionaires. Nancy Pelosi is worth $250 million. Made most of that money on insider trading, getting in on the ground floor of IPOs, initial public offerings on stocks, and then passing legislation benefiting it. Seems like the entire political establishment of this country is as corrupt as Putin and the people around him, including Biden.
And now they have to share in the pain. The private sector is acting as well. Over 400 private multinational companies have pulled out of doing business in Russia, left Russia completely, from oil companies to McDonald's. As a result of these unprecedented sanctions, the ruble almost is immediately reduced to rubble. The Russian economy, that's true, by the way, takes about 200 rubles to equal $1. The economy is on track to be cut in half in the coming years. It was ranked, Russia's economy was ranked the 11th biggest economy in the world before this invasion. It will soon not even rank among the top 20 in the world. Taken together.
By the way, why are there, if you notice, there's some empty space over here in Warsaw.
These economic sanctions are a new kind of economic statecraft with the power to inflict damage that rivals military might. These international sanctions are sapping Russian strength, its ability to replenish its military, and its ability to project power. And it is Putin It is Vladimir Putin who is to blame, period. At the same time, alongside these economic sanctions, the Western world has come together to provide for the people of Ukraine with incredible levels of military, economic, humanitarian assistance. In the years before the invasion, we, America, had sent over $650 million before they crossed the border in weapons to Ukraine, including anti-air and anti-armor equipment. Since the invasion, America has committed another $1.35 billion in weapons and ammunition. And thanks to the courage and bravery of the Ukrainian people, the equipment we've sent and our colleagues have sent have been used to devastating effect to defend Ukrainian land and airspace. Our allies and partners have stepped up as well.
The yelling again. Oh, my goodness.
But as I've made clear, American forces are in Europe, not in Europe, to engage in conflict with Russian forces. American forces are here to defend NATO allies. Yesterday, I met with the troops that are serving alongside our Polish allies to bolster NATO's frontline defenses. The reason we want to make clear is their movement on Ukraine don't even think about moving on one single inch of NATO territory. We have sacred obligation.
Sacred obligations?
We have a sacred obligation under Article 5 to defend each and every inch of NATO territory.
Well, NATO hasn't been attacked. Okay? NATO hasn't been attacked.
With the full force of our collective power. And earlier today, I visited your national stadium, where thousands of Ukrainian refugees are now trying to answer the toughest questions a human can ask. My God, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my family? I saw tears in many of the mothers' eyes as I embraced them. They're young children. They're young children, not sure whether to smile or cry. One little girl said, "Mr. President," she spoke a little English, "if my brother and my daddy, are they going to be okay? Will I see them again?" Without their husbands, their fathers, many cases, their brothers and sisters who stayed back to fight for their country. I didn't have to speak the language or understand the language to feel the emotion in their eyes, where they gripped my hand. Little kids hung onto my leg, praying with a desperate hope.
Was Corn Pop there?
All this is temporary. Apprehension that they may be perhaps forever away from their homes. Almost a debilitating sadness that this is happening all over again. But I was also struck by the generosity of the people of Warsaw, for that matter, all the Polish people, for the depths of their compassion, their willingness to reach out, opening their hearts. Say to the mayor and the premier, they're opening their hearts and their homes simply to help. I also want to thank my friend, the great American chef, Jose Andres, and his team for help feeding those who are yearning to be free. But helping.
Hey, how about thanking first daughter Ivanka Trump, who sent 1 million meals over there? You know, if you're just tuning in, you just let me tell people, well, it's getting closer to the end. This is Biden's speech in Poland. And the reason I'm playing this today is I was just going to play that clip. And I went to pull off the clip and started listening to the clip. They're spinning this as if he slipped. And I'm here to tell you that this entire speech was about war with Russia and regime change. Don't let anyone convince you that there was any slip and that he went off script. The entire script was about regime change in Russia.
These refugees is not something Poland or any other nation should carry alone. All the world democracies have a responsibility to help. All of them. And the people of Ukraine can count on the United States to meet its responsibility. I've announced 2 days ago we will welcome 100,000 Ukrainian refugees.
Why?
We already have 8,000 a week coming to the United States.
Oh, my goodness.
Nationalities. We'll provide nearly $300 million in humanitarian assistance, providing tens of thousands of tons of food, water, medicine, and other basic supplies. In Brussels, I announced the United States is prepared to provide more than $1 billion in additional humanitarian aid. The World Food Program told us that despite significant obstacles, at least some relief is getting to major cities in Ukraine, but not Metropole. No, excuse me, not Mariupol.
Oh, my goodness.
Because Russian forces are blocking relief supplies. But will not cease our efforts to get humanitarian relief wherever it is needed in Ukraine and for the people who have made it out of Ukraine.
You know, when and a lot of you may not be familiar with it, I'm sure many of you are, but when the Soviet Union blockaded East and West Berlin, right? Remember, Berlin was in the middle, way up inside of East Germany, and we had West Berlin, and the Soviets did a blockade of West Berlin, so supplies couldn't come in. And we had a massive airlift, the Berlin airlift. That was around a city that had not just United States, but our allies, the Brits, the French, and others, in Berlin, who were surrounded and not able to get supplies. We were not this close to war with the Soviet Union then as during the Berlin airlift. Back to the speech.
Notwithstanding the brutality of Vladimir Putin, let there be no doubt that this war has already been a strategic failure for Russia already.
More empty space. See that empty space?
Having lost children myself, I know that's no solace to the people who've lost family. But he, Putin, thought Ukrainians would roll over and not fight. Not much of a student of history. Instead, Russian forces have met their match with brave and stiff Ukrainian resistance. Rather than breaking Ukrainian resolve, Russia's brutal tactics have strengthened the resolve.
Oh, here comes the
Rather
yelling
than
again.
driving NATO apart, the West is now stronger and more united than it has ever been. Russia wanted less of a NATO presence on its border, but now he has a stronger presence, a larger presence, with over 100,000 American troops here, along with all the other members of NATO. In fact, Russia has managed to cause something I'm sure he never intended. The democracies of the world are revitalized with purpose and unity found in months that we'd once taken years to accomplish. It's not only Russia's actions in Ukraine that are reminding us of democracy's blessing. It's our own country, his own country, the Kremlin. It's jailing protesters. 200,000 people have allegedly already left. There's a brain drain leaving Russia, shutting down independent news. State media is all propaganda, blocking the image of civilian targets, mass graves, starvation tactics.
Look at our media. First of all, I already talked about, he's talking about Russian media is all propaganda. Here you got Zelensky, who's suspended all media and put it under one umbrella under him. So they have no independent media any longer in any form in Ukraine. And look at how the corporate media, including Fox News, by the way, are handling the Russian situation here. How many stories did you see in the last 2 days about that yacht that they say is Putin? So we've got state-controlled media here as well in this country with one message: war, go to war, remove Putin.
Of the Russian forces in Ukraine. Is there any wonder, as I said, that 200,000 Russians have already left their country in 1 month? A remarkable brain drain in such a short period of time.
Oh my goodness, he can't even say brain
Which brings me
drain.
to my message to the Russian people. I've worked with Russian leaders for decades. I sat across the negotiating table going all the way back to Soviet Premier Alexei Kosygin to talk arms control at the height of the Cold War. I've always spoken directly and honestly to you, the Russian people. Let me say this, if you're able to listen. You, the Russian people, are not our enemy. I refuse to believe that you welcome the killing of innocent children and grandparents, or that you accept hospitals, schools, maternity wards, and for God's sake, being pummeled with Russian missiles and bombs, or cities being surrounded so that civilians cannot flee, supplies cut off, and attempting to starve Ukrainians into submissions. Millions of families are being driven from their homes, including half of all Ukraine's children. These are not the actions of a great nation. Of all people, you, the Russian people, as well as all people across Europe, still have the memory of being in a similar situation in the late 30s and 40s. Situation of World War II, still fresh in the minds of many grandparents in the region. Whatever your generation experienced, whether it experienced the siege of Leningrad or heard about it from your parents and grandparents, train stations overflowing with terrified families fleeing their homes, nights sheltering in basements and cellars, mornings sitting through the rubble in your homes. These are not memories of the past, not anymore, because it's exactly what the Russian army is doing in Ukraine right now. March 26, 2022, just days before we're at the 21st, you were a 21st century nation with hopes and dreams that people all over the world have for themselves and their family. Now, Vladimir Putin's aggression have cut you, the Russian people, off from the rest of the world. And it's taking Russia back to the 19th century. This is not who you are. This is not the future you deserve for your families and your children. I'm telling you the truth. This war is not worthy of you, the Russian people. Putin can and must end this war. The American people will stand with you and the brave citizens of Ukraine who want peace. My message to the rest of Europe, this new battle for freedom has already made a few things crystal clear. First, Europe must end its dependence on Russian fossil fuels. And we, the United States, will help.
There's the green agenda. Buy Teslas.
That's why just yesterday in Brussels, I announced a plan with the President of the European Commission to get Europe through the immediate energy crisis. Over the long term, as a matter of economic security and national security for the survivability of the planet, we all need to move as quickly as possible to clean, renewable energy.
Here we go.
We'll work
Green
together
agenda.
to help get that done.
Yeah.
So that the days of any nation being subject to the whims of a tyrant for its energy needs are over. They must end. They must end. And second, we have to fight the corruption coming from the Kremlin to give the Russian people a fair chance. And finally, most urgently, we maintain absolute unity. We must among the world's democracies. It's not enough to speak with rhetorical flourish of ennobling words of democracy, of freedom, equality, and liberty. All of us, including here in Poland, must do the hard work of democracy each and every day. My country as well. That's why. That's why I came to Europe again this week with a clear and determined message for NATO, for the G7, for the European Union, for all freedom-loving nations. We must commit now to be in this fight for the long haul. We must remain unified today and tomorrow and the day after, and for the years and decades to come. It will not be easy. There will be cost.
Okay, now we're getting towards the end of the speech. Now they're telling us, when he gets to the part when he talks about the regime change in Russia with Putin, ask yourself, does this look like he just went rogue? Does this look like he went off script? You know, and the arrogance of them saying the president of the United States has a script, and if he says something that a speechwriter and a committee of advisors haven't approved of, something's wrong here. You know, when I hear the White House say, oh, that was off script, that makes it sound as if I'm Putin, that makes me really nervous, because if I'm Putin, I'm like, well, who's running this country? Who's running this country? Let me tell you, on the day that Itchy Brain, $5 super chat, thank you. Everyone, please thank Itchy Brain for that. When you look back at the day Reagan was shot, and he was in surgery, and the Cold War was at its peak, and a lot has come out that in the White House Situation Room at the time, Alexander Haig was there, Bush was vice president, he was in Texas, and there was a lot of confusion. Is this the beginning of a Russian attack? There was a lot of confusion, and when Alexander Haig, the great Alexander Haig, whose reputation is soiled by these liberal jerks that write the history, when he came out and, talked about, I'm in charge, everything's okay, we got everything under control. They were trying to cool things off right then and have stability in government. And that was meant for the Russians. Okay, they wanted Russia to know that we have stability of government, that people are in charge here, even though President Reagan was. When they say, "Oh no, that's not U.S. policy, regime change in Russia. This Putin must go thing," Biden went off script. If you're Putin, you're saying, "Well, wait a minute, has he been deposed? Is Biden the president or not?" It makes it sound as if he's been deposed, doesn't it? By a committee of what? Who? Who knows? Who knows?
But it's a price we have to pay, because the darkness that drives autocracy is ultimately no match for the flame of liberty that lights the souls of free people everywhere. Time and again, history shows that it's from the darkest moments that the greatest progress follows. And history shows this is the task of our time, the task of this generation. Let's remember the hammer blow that brought down the Berlin Wall. The might that lifted the Iron Curtain were not the words of a single leader. It was the people of Europe who for decades fought to free themselves. Their sheer bravery opened the border between Austria and Hungary for the pan-European picnic. They joined hands for the Baltic Way. They stood for solidarity here in Poland. And together, it was an unmistakable and undeniable force of the people that the Soviet Union could not withstand. And we're seeing it once again today with the brave Ukrainian people showing that their power of many is greater than the will of any one dictator. So in this hour, let the words of Pope John Paul burn as brightly today. Never, ever give up hope. Never doubt. Never tire. Never become discouraged. Be not afraid. A dictator bent on rebuilding an empire will never erase a people's love for liberty. Brutality will never grind down their will to be free. Ukraine will never be a victory for Russia, for free people refused to live in a world of hopelessness and darkness. We will have a different future, a brighter future, rooted in democracy and principles, hope and light, of decency and dignity, of freedom and possibilities. For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power. God bless you all.
See, now that's the part everyone's playing. That is in the speech. It's not only because it's consistent with the rest of the speech. He did not go off script. He did not go off speech. He read it as it was written. So don't buy this lie that they're selling us in the mainstream corporate media. Listen.
We will have a different future, a brighter future, rooted in democracy and principles, hope and light, of decency and dignity, of freedom and possibilities. For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
See, he's looking at the teleprompter.
God bless you all, and may God defend our freedom.
See, you can tell because he's looking at the teleprompter. Remember, the teleprompters are off to the side, and he's looking directly at the teleprompter when he says this thing that they say was not on the script.
For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power. God bless you all, and may God defend our freedom, and may God protect our troops. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For patience. There you have it. There it is. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I know it's tough to hear Biden, but this one's important, people. This one has to be heard. The speech that started the Third World War, possibly. Hopefully not. Oh, my goodness. I know. Was that some Trump rally last night, by the way? That was a great rally. Who was your favorite other than Trump speaking last night? I thought Matt Gaetz was amazing. I love Matt Gaetz when he went up there. They were all great, but I'm a Matt Gaetz guy. I love Matt Gaetz. He's a Florida guy, too. But that was, yeah. That's trouble, people. That is big time trouble that we're in right now. And you know what? You know what? We've just got to ride it out. And because this is what's happening, you know? The midterm election is not soon enough to slow down the wheels of what's going on here. And even if we took over both houses, he's still got the authority to continue on as he is doing. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene's always great. I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, Matt Gaetz, though, he said that Marjorie Taylor Greene is the greatest member of the House of Representatives. Greater than him, I thought. They're always together. There's no getting around that, those two. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that was a great rally last night. Matt Gaetz, I love Matt Gaetz. I just, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. But Matt Gaetz, I met Matt Gaetz at a Trump rally, and in person, he's skinny as can be. He's about this skinny, and he's got a big old head on a skinny little body, and his hair goes up higher than what my camera does. He's got big hair, a big head, and a skinny body. Television adds weight to people. So I was a little surprised when I saw him in person, but he is spectacular. We knew things were going to be bad with Biden, but did we think they would be this bad? Honestly, I mean, I don't think so. Did you think there would be a third world war possibly? Did you think there'd be another conflict in Europe? Did you think we would have a conflict with Russia? No, I don't think anyone did. Spumante3, $10 super chat. Thank you. Everyone thanks Spumante3. Thank you, Brian, for all you do, a true journalist. Oh, well, thank you for your support. Everyone thanks Spumante3 for that super chat. And thank you guys for always participating. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and click the notification bell. And everyone who's already subscribed, make sure you like the video because that does help a lot. And I just wanted to show you guys something here. Hold on a second. I want to show you guys something here. Give me a second. Not already. A little laid back this morning. But, of course, I want to take an opportunity to tell you about our sponsor, and that's the great Mike Lindell. And this is, I took this right before I started the stream today when I was getting ready. This is my cat, Sagwa, and my dog, Nina. And, of course, they're on the My Pillow pet bed, just snoring away together. I know, they love each other. And I know, isn't that great, the My Pillow pet bed? And, inside the My Pillow pet bed, this was taken right at my feet. The pet bed, I have a standing desk here where I'm at in the studio. And the dog and the cat, they want out, they want in, they want my attention. So I put the My Pillow pet bed at my feet under the desk, and and they they love it. They love it. And this My Pillow pet bed has in it the same My Pillow patented foam that's inside the My Pillow itself, and it's completely machine washable, and we have two of these, and they're reversible, by the way. You throw the whole thing in the wash in the dryer. This one we've had about a year, and look at it, it looks brand new, doesn't it? And you throw it in the wash, you throw it in the dryer, wash it every week, because dogs and cats do what they do, and it's like brand new every time we take it out of the dryer. And both of these, by the way, are rescue animals. We got both of them at different humane societies. And, you get great animals at the Humane Society, yeah. And especially in Florida. Yeah, it's a beautiful cat. She's a cute cat. And they're both, these are both old girls. We don't really know how old Nina is here, but she's about 14. 13, 14 years old, and Sagwa's like 11 or 12 now. But, yeah, I know. Usually what happens is Sagwa will lay down right in the middle of the MyPillow pet bed, and Nina doesn't have any space. And Sagwa lay down first and kind of got not quite in the middle, and Nina got just enough space to get on there. And, of course, with our promo code Kane, there is a great deal on the MyPillow pet beds. Now, when you go to MyPillow.com and use our promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout, there's all kinds of great deals. But you also have this opportunity to save another $10 off the already low deal you get on the special. And the MyPillow pet beds, 50% off, okay, as low as $19.99. And, they're waking up a little bit because I was saying their names. But hold on, let me take the call here. Hold on, caller. I'll be with you in just a moment. But the MyPillow pet beds, 50% off when you use the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, as low as $19.99. And the one that my dog and cat on is the large one that this German Shepherd's on. And, of course, they have the little tiny ones, too. And, you can take advantage of all these specials with our promo code Kane at checkout. And with every MyPillow purchase, you will also receive a free copy of Mike Lindell's autobiography, What Are the Odds from Crack Addict to CEO? So go take advantage of these deals with the promo code Kane, and at the same time, Kane at checkout at MyPillow.com. You're supporting, of course, all the content I put together, my podcast, my YouTube channel, the Steve Kane Radio Show. You're supporting all of that, and the great Mike Lindell. So use the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. All right, caller, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Washington. My name is Ryan. How are you doing today, sir?
Good. Washington State or D.C.?
State.
Oh, good. All right. What's on your mind?
Question for you. I've been listening to you for about a year, and you've been amazing.
Oh, thank you.
My question I have for you is, if Trump was to get into office in 2024, which we're all expecting he will, what would you do to correct this war, or what would you do if you were Trump, about this Ukraine war?
Well, it's hard to say because the war will probably be over by then. You're talking about between Ukraine and Russia, or
yes,
between the United? That war will be settled by then. I mean, what's going to happen eventually? There'll be a cease in major military hostilities, and then there's going to be a constant skirmish. Kind of like the Israelis and the Palestinians used to have in the days of Arafat. There's going to be constant skirmishes between the Russians and Ukraine for years to come. Main thing that we could do with President Trump, and he'll do this, is the pipeline and make us the number one producer of oil again, like we were when Trump was president. Russia has one export, right? Well, two exports, right? Wives, right, to desperate guys around the world. But the big export they have in Russia is oil, right? And the conflict over there in Europe is because Europe buys all that oil. So we should be selling them that oil. We should be increasing our production. That's what you do. And by the way, shouldn't someone have a summit meeting with Putin? All that's going on here, and Biden won't even talk to Putin. So I think a summit meeting between President Trump and Putin and whoever the Ukrainian president is at the time would be a way to go. Absolutely.
So you're not seeing this war going on for 20, 30 years, like the
no.
Afghanistan war?
No, I think what they're going to have is, I've been talking about this a lot since this started a month ago, they're going to have a new Cold War like we used to have, because it's big money. Big money for the NATO countries, big money for the political establishment. There's going to be another Cold War with a massive military buildup in Europe. During the Cold War, we had a lot of soldiers and airmen and others stationed in Europe. We still have some, but nowhere near what we used to have. A lot of those bases are either closed down or greatly reduced in personnel. So there's going to be a massive military buildup in Europe. That's big money. Not just military, but intelligence operations and everything else.
I appreciate you allowing me to give you a call, and you have a wonderful week, sir.
All right. Well, thank you for the call, Washington State. It's good to hear from conservative people from Washington State. Everyone thinks everybody out in Washington State is a liberal, and maybe the liberals outnumber the conservatives, but there's a lot of good conservative people in the state of Washington. Yeah, that was some speech. And I got to tell you, this entire trip to Poland was a disaster. Yesterday we talked about with the troops, so I'm not going to go through that again today. You guys can look that up. You can watch yesterday's stream and see that. I mean, there was not one moment for Biden in Europe that was not a disaster. And what possessed them to send him over there and put them through those positions, I don't know. Prancer, $5 super chat. Everyone thank Prancer for that. Thank you, Brian and Kathy, for rescuing. And yeah, that's right. Yeah, and Gladys Kravitz Jr., $10 super chat. Everyone thank Gladys as well. Hope this will get you a Starbucks or a gallon of gas. Thank you for all that you do. A gallon of gas. The Starbucks is not as expensive as you think. I don't get the fancy Starbucks. This is espresso, and this is like $3.60, okay? And it's 4 shots of espresso. And it's cheaper than I could make espresso at home. I've tried. It's very expensive. Oh, that's Nina. She may want out in a minute, so I might have to let her out. But she's waking up. When I did the commercial, I said their names, so startled her a little bit. What's going on, Sagwa? Oh, hold on. Sagwa has just woken up and wants out of the studio. Hold on, guys. Hold on. You want out, Sagwa? There you go. All right. We're back. I woke them both up by saying their names. They may be old, but they have not lost their hearing. Yeah, I know, some terrible stuff. Now, this is my governor, and he will, of course, be the second MAGA president in 2028, Ron DeSantis. And he's just spectacular. Look at this. Florida sees continued job growth and low unemployment because he kept Florida open the entire time. Florida is booming in every aspect of the economy. But, you know, I was thinking about this because a lot of people, we love Ron DeSantis in Florida. And I know MAGA people around the country love Ron DeSantis too. And there's been a lot of talk of him being the vice presidential running mate for Trump. And I like that idea, no doubt about it. You know, a lot of people say, well, no, we don't want to lose him as a governor. We have term limits for governor in Florida, and he's going to be reelected this year for his second term. He's going to be leaving us anyway in 4 years after that. So if he leaves us 2 years early, we'll miss him, but he's going to leave us eventually. And, you know, a lot of people say, oh, no, DeSantis is a leader and all that, not second banana. Whoever is the vice president is assured the nomination in 2028 for the Republican Party to be the second MAGA president. But I was thinking last night, and I'll throw this out to you guys, you know, Ron DeSantis, he's perfect. I mean, he's like the perfect person to be governor. I mean, oh, man, I know you guys hear about how great Ron DeSantis is wherever you are, but living here in Florida, it's absolutely amazing. But I was thinking last night, because I was watching the Trump rally in Georgia last night, what do you think about Herschel Walker being President Trump's running mate? What do you guys think about that? You know, he'll be in the Senate for the exact same amount of time as Obama was by the time it's election time, right? I'm pretty impressed with Herschel Walker, and he was great last night. I think he would be a very good running mate for President Trump. What do you guys think about that? Herschel Walker. I think it would be wonderful. Oh, man. And, you know, the media would have a meltdown over that one. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. He's a great speaker. He's very impressive. He's a household name even before he started. Yeah, I like Herschel Walker, too. For vice president with Trump? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think he should definitely be on the list. One there. There we go. Candace Owens. No. Candace Owens hasn't even held political office. And no. She's too close. I like Candace Owens, but she's too close to Ben Shapiro. I wouldn't want Ben Shapiro hovering around the Trump White House. You know, she's pregnant again. I saw her last week, and she was wearing baggy clothes, and I knew right then she was pregnant. Then she came out on stage and said she was pregnant. A little more seasoning, maybe for vice president. I don't know. It would certainly be an outside the box kind of thing because, you know, Herschel Walker, I wouldn't say that he is presidential material, but he's vice presidential material, I think. Because, what you want in a, and that doesn't mean that Ron DeSantis can't get the nomination in 28 and be the second MAGA president. What you want from a vice president is someone who's going to bring you something. And a lot of times it's a state, right? It's a state or a voting block. And Herschel Walker brings a lot of African-American support. I mean, there's no getting, and football fans, right? So I think from the perspective of adding something to the ticket, I think Herschel Walker adds something, as so far as that goes. No Herschel. He's had a lot of hard knocks. We still have to see how he does. Oh, yeah, I would say pick him right now. We got to see how he does. But he will have been in the Senate for the exact same amount of time as Barack Obama by the time the campaign comes. He should be on the list. No, he should definitely be on the list. It would turn things upside down a little bit for them. They'd have a hard time going after Herschel. I'm not saying I would necessarily want him to be the president. No experience? I don't know. We will find out. I like him. And it would help us. It would help us with the black vote. It really would. I don't know if I want him to be president though. Yeah, he's got to win the Senate seat. Absolutely, Carl. Better than Pence. I never liked Pence. Never. And I used to talk about that actually all the time, and people would give me a hard time about that. But I was never a fan of Pence ever. Now this one I'm really looking forward to. Sean Penn is going to melt down his Oscar if the Oscars don't have Zelensky speaking. What did he get an Oscar for? Does anyone remember what he got an Oscar for? I don't know. I heard an interview with him with Sean Penn by Howard Stern, I don't know, about a year or so ago. What an uninteresting person. I'm not going to play the clip of him. He's just not an interesting person at all. I know. Yeah, Pence is creepy. Well, what I never liked about Pence, and what I used to talk about with Mike Pence all the time, was with Pence, I said this, you don't know what he's really like. He's too polished, Pence, and you never know what his personality is really like. Well, we know now. He's a creep, but I don't like people whose personality I can't quite figure out. Do you know what I mean by that? I mean that's just me. Maybe somebody else has a different view of that, but that's me. Hold on a second. I want to play you something here. Just give me a second till this finishes. Hold on. Now, this is Biden at work. This is Biden at work, right? He's over here. He's in Poland. He's meeting refugees, people that have left their family behind, their husbands behind, their men behind, and they're refugees. Listen to this conversation that Biden has.
My name is Victoria.
He always gravitates towards the ladies, doesn't he? Have you noticed that? Biden always gravitates to the ladies.
So
we've been trying to get a lot of people that don't want to.
Now, look, the guy's trying to talk to him. He's not interested. He has eyes on this lady, right? Listen to this.
I leave for go to another country. They are staying places like Boston. They are joining us, and they are the ones.
Look, this guy's talking. Biden's not even listening, and he's just he's staring down that woman.
Feeding the Ukrainians to help him take care of everybody.
Now he's hugging. He's hugging.
How do you say in Ukrainian, "Pleading all those beautiful eyes"?
He asked her who she got her beautiful eyes from. Here's this guy over here pleading for his nation to Joe Biden. He doesn't even hear it. These are supposedly the refugees, and he's got his hands on her. He's hugging her. He's staring at her, not even listening to the guy next to him. And then he starts talking to her about her pretty eyes. Wow.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Your father or your mother? Who had the eyes?
The mother's eyes.
Your mama.
Wants to meet her too, probably.
Oh, mama. Anyway, thank you. Can I help you at all? Anyway.
Wow. Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's Biden. I mean, what a creep. I mean, what a creepy man. I know. It's weird, it's creepy, it's embarrassing. She's uncomfortable. Where are the Me Too people? Where's the Me Too? Now look at this. Now, I don't know if they're talking about this in the news. President Trump hit a hole-in-one in Georgia. Look at this. Look at this. Trump nails a hole-in-one just 1 week after his granddaughter wins the women's championship. Donald Trump scored an incredible hole-in-one on Saturday, that's yesterday, while playing a round of golf. The hole-in-one is just a week after his 14-year-old granddaughter won the women's championship. Wow. Is this Swan, candidate for the House of Representatives of South Carolina, tweeted a picture of Trump on Saturday after he made the hole-in-one. Isn't that amazing? And here's the picture. With a siren, Trump just made a hole-in-one. And look at that. Uh-oh. President Trump's giving the okay sign. They're going to have meltdowns over that. You're not allowed to do that. Okay sign. Oh, my goodness. I know. Isn't that amazing? That's absolutely amazing. Yeah. Mystic River is what he got. Yeah, Mystic River was all right. That's what Sean Penn got the Oscar for. Oh, man. Yeah, man. It would qualify as sexual harassment in your workplace, Gladys. I think it would be almost an assault. He had hands on her. He hugged her, put his arms around her, pulled her in. She sounds uncomfortable. She sounds nervous. And, you know, he has security around him. What do you do when Biden comes up to you and start? And the guy, could you imagine? And this guy next to him, I don't know what he was saying, pleading for his country, pleading for help, and then Trump pulls that act. Or, I'm sorry, Biden pulls that act. Could you imagine if Trump did that? If Trump did something like that, the media would have a meltdown. And they'd be right to do it. And the Me Too women would all be on television talking about it. Biden does it, not even in the news. Not even in the news. You know, there's a new lawsuit coming out against... Hey, Mike, there's a new lawsuit coming out against President Trump, Don Jr., and Eric over The Apprentice. And they just harass these people, right? Little story came out yesterday. But the Beau Biden Foundation only spent $550,000 on preventing child abuse. The foundation spent nearly $1 million, with a large sum of it going to covering the cost of six-figure salaries. So this guy here, who looks like he just came off a bender with Hunter, he was paid $131,437. This lady here, she was paid $150,660, you know, and there's other salaries too. So half of it goes to prevent child abuse. The other half goes to salaries of people working for them. And they're investigating Trump on The Apprentice. Are you kidding me? Here they got a fake charity, right? Like the Clinton Foundation, and they're giving our president a hard time. And I want to just tell you guys, if any of you are on Getter, I'm on Getter and Truth. Truth Social's not yet on the desktop. I have the app, you know, on my phone. But on both Getter and Truth, you can find me at Real Brian Craig. This is my Getter, which I really just started using. I got Getter a long time ago, didn't use it, and I started using this when I was on the wait list for Truth Social. But on Truth Social and Getter, this is my Getter, Real Brian Craig, on both of them. There's our great president up there. This is my Getter profile. So if you're on Getter, and Truth Social or Truth Social. Make sure you follow me on both at Real Brian Craig on those guys. I would very much appreciate that. And I'm pretty active on all the, both Getter and Truth. Pretty active on them a lot. And I like them both, so make sure you follow me there. If you're new here, make sure that you subscribe and click the notification bell. And everyone else, if you're already subscribed, please like the video. That helps a lot. When you guys like the video, that recommends all of my content to other people that have not yet discovered the channel. Truth is, not only is Truth not in the Android Google Play Store yet, last I heard, Truth Social was not able to yet reach a deal with Google to have the Truth Social app in their App Store. So right now, Truth Social is only available on Apple. And I have it on my iPhone and my iPad, and I know a lot of you are still on the waiting list. You know, I've been on Truth Social, I don't know, about a week and a half now, and I know some of you are on the waiting list, and I don't think the waiting list number is the order in which you get on Truth Social. I think you get on Truth Social randomly. I don't know how they're doing it. Someone on Truth put a post up I saw a few days ago that said that they've added new servers and they're allowing 25,000 people a day on. I don't know if that's actually true. 25,000 people a day doesn't seem like enough considering how many people are on it. But I know a lot of people are getting frustrated. I was getting frustrated. That's why I started using my Getter again. But everyone will be on eventually. And the way it's going to work for Android, according to Devin Nunes, is you'll be when they have the desktop version available, you'll be able to do a wraparound on your browser on your phone, so you can have an icon there. But they do not have a deal to be in the Google Play Store yet, which really surprised me. I thought they had a Google Play Store deal. They're in the Apple App Store. Well, I don't know why they couldn't get the Google deal yet, but you know, hey, listen, because Trump owns it, probably has something to do with it. I use iPhones. Just because to me they're the easiest. I know there's iPhone people, there's Android people. I'm an Apple guy. It's just easier for me, you know. Google will delay and delay and delay. Yeah. But once you're on Truth Social, you'll be happy. I know it's frustrating. Kathy got on like 2 weeks before I did. She went active. It was very frustrating. Yeah, they can't handle the truth on good. That's exactly right, Scott. Absolutely. Use Getter and Gab. I don't use Gab. You know, the way that I was on Gab a long time ago, but you can only have so many. And now that Elon Musk is talking about having a social media platform. You like Gab better? I mean, how many can you be on? I'm on as much as I can do, and it's a little frustrating because I post articles that I'm going to talk about on social media, and I have so many platforms now. You've been getting verification numbers that don't work. Have you gotten an email telling you that your profile was set up at all? About a week before my profile went active, they sent me a verification text message for my phone number. And I thought, I'm going to be on, and it still was another week. They're obviously having bugs, on Truth Social. But it'll eventually work, Katina. Eventually. Any day, the desktop version should be available, according to Devin Nunes, for Truth Social. But President Trump has not been using Truth Social. He put one post on there when it first launched, and he has not put a second post up on Truth Social yet. I'm not sure why he's not being more active on there. Let me see how many followers President Trump has on Truth Social. Hold on, let me pull it up here. Let me pull up Truth Social. See, here's my Truth Social. Can you guys see it there? That's my Truth Social account. And remember, I took that picture. I was telling you, I took that picture of President Trump. That was on Inauguration Day when he returned to Mar-a-Lago. Let me see how many followers Donald Trump has right now on Truth Social. Let's see here. President Trump has 753,000 followers on Truth Social right now. And he only has one post that he put up a month ago. Get ready, your favorite president will see you soon. And that has 18,200 comments, 113,000 hearts, and 26,000 retruths. Instead of retweets, they call them truths and retruths, you know. And so, Kathy thinks that President Trump is waiting to get to 1 million followers on Truth until he starts posting there. I don't know. But, we'll find out. And I hope he starts getting active on there because I would like to hear him comment. Although that rally last night was spectacular. He dropped another F-bomb, which everyone went nuts, you know. But he is... Truth Social, it's pretty much like Twitter. You can make 2-minute videos and post up there. And you can do most things that you can do on Twitter. It's not fully operational yet. They're still working out some bugs on it. But they have their version of the trending topics, you know, like on Twitter. And I like it. But you know what? I like Getter a lot too. So I'm going to still use Getter. I'm going to use Truth. And I do have to stay active on Twitter, you know, too, a little bit. But I'm gonna be using, I use Getter a lot, and I use Truth a lot. So Real Brian Craig on Getter and Truth. Make sure you all follow me there. He has 2.3 million followers on Gab, President Trump. That's amazing. It depends on what context he uses it in, David. You know what I mean? You know? I think he likes to drop one F-bomb at each rally these days, you know? Well, Clarence Thomas, you know, I was predicting this, and they're talking about it now. You know, they're talking about removing Clarence Thomas from the Supreme Court over his wife. Can you imagine? They want to remove someone because of something their spouse did, which, by the way, she did nothing wrong. But they want, you know... Eric Trump, is he on Truth Social? Last I checked, Don Jr. was not on Truth Social. Let me look, because I don't think he's on Truth Social. He wasn't last time I checked, I checked last weekend when I saw him at the rally. Let me see here, because I was a little surprised. No, he is not on there. There's some fake accounts. No, Don Jr. is not on Truth Social. So I don't know why he's not on Truth Social, but he is not on Truth Social. Maybe Don Jr.'s on the wait list too, like everybody else. I don't know. Hey, listen, guys, thanks for joining me this morning. Again, if you're new here, please subscribe, all right? And like the video. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Al from South Florida. I call you sometimes on the radio. I had a question. Hopefully it's not off topic, but it has to do. I didn't get a chance to watch the Trump rally yesterday, right? And you watched.
Shame on you.
Well, here's what happened. I had to work. I'm just curious. You watch Newsmax more than
how can you watch it today if you missed it? Is that what you're asking me?
Well, I already know they have no repeats. Like, can you watch it on the Newsmax app?
If you go, I don't know if it's on the Newsmax app, but if you go to Rumble, you can watch Right Side Broadcasting yesterday. All right? Take care. Hey there, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Carl in Columbus.
Carl in Columbus. What's up, Carl?
Hey. Good morning. Hey, I appreciate you having these morning sessions. They're awesome.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
And but that was the most dangerous speech ever given. I mean,
Biden's speech?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was practically a declaration of war against Russia, wasn't it?
Well, oh yeah, it was just egging him on. I mean, it's and you can tell that his motives for going over there are not they're not crystal clear. It wasn't just to. I think maybe it has something to do with the Hunter's laptop, and he's trying to cover things up and trying to. I
don't think it's about the laptop.
Distract.
It benefits the laptop because there's a big like right now the truckers convoy. You know, that's not really it's hard to even get interested in it at all because going to World War III is overshadowing that. It's not. This isn't about the laptop. This is good old-fashioned political corruption, making money, the military-industrial complex.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to say the wrong thing when you don't have a clear plan, and he doesn't. I just think he's over there. I mean, he actually told our soldiers that they're going to go into Ukraine. I mean,
that's right. While Russian troops are there.
Yeah. He either has no filter and he's lost it, or he's purposely saying stuff like that.
Well, the speech yesterday when he talked about regime change, that was in the speech. Earlier in the stream, I don't know if you were watching, but I played the speech and showed it, and you can tell that he is looking and reading the teleprompter when he talked about removing Putin. So that was not off script. Now, the thing about the troops, I played that on the stream yesterday, showed the video, and I think what happened with that, there was another time he did this a few months ago, and I can't remember what it involved, but I think what happened is he just gave out classified information due to his slippage of his mind, that this is a conversation that they've had and a decision they made, and he let it out a little early because he's so checked out.
I mean, could you imagine if Trump said something like that? Yeah, we were in a classified meeting and we discussed this, and here's, I mean, and
now the president has the authority to declassify anything without any paperwork, just anything they say. It's part of their privilege, but that's not what happened. He slipped up and screwed up with the troops, telling them they're going to be in Ukraine while the Russian army's there, because he said you're going to see people trying to stop tanks. So those would be Russian tanks they're trying to stop. So we're going to have the army in Russia and Ukraine when the Russians are there. That doesn't sound smart.
That was just so weird. I mean, you're going to see people standing in front of tanks and trying to stop tanks, and I mean, it's like, what the heck? I mean, have you ever heard a more dark speech than that?
No, I honestly no, and I'll tell you what I was talking about earlier. What the White House has done with that Poland speech yesterday in Warsaw they made it worse. When he talked about regime change, they say he went off script and they're walking it back. Well, what do you mean? He's the president of the United States. So what they're telling us is that he said something that wasn't approved by some committee. What that sends the Putin and his advisors in the Kremlin, what that tells them is that there is no leader in the United States, that the president is a figurehead who's been deposed somewhat, and that means there's no stability. You don't know what's going on, and that's frightening. That escalates things a lot. If we found out, for example, the Russian in a time of hostility, or that the Russian leader had been deposed and they were still out there, that would cause a lot of stock market problems. There's a lot of instability in the world. It's a scary thing.
Yeah. Well, and part of the speech, what made it even worse was he was telling the American people that we're the ones that are going to suffer because of this.
Absolutely.
It's like, we didn't agree to this, know? I mean, every decision this guy makes drives up the price on products that Russia exports and hurts us. I mean, this fertilizer, we're not going to have any fertilizer, no food.
Well, this was new to me a few weeks ago. A huge percentage of fertilizer used in the United States comes from Russia. Yeah. And what is expected to drive food cost up more than anything is the fertilizer shortage, because you got to have fertilizer for the crops, and it's going to go up a lot, and that's what's going to drive food prices. Some farmers are saying up 40%.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be painful.
We were talking about, True Social, iPhones and Androids. Food isn't like, well, you know what? That new phone is so much money. I'm going to stick with my old. Food is something you need. The things that are going up in price are necessities of life.
There's no
fuel.
messing around.
Yeah.
When it comes to food, and transportation and electricity, there's no messing around, and those are the things he's affecting. This whole damn Green New Deal is just that's killing us, and every decision this guy makes is messed up.
Yeah, Yeah, I know. And that speech in Warsaw is scary. That's why I played it this morning.
Yeah.
That's why
Well, I'm glad you did, because I wouldn't have watched it.
Well, I played it
without
because I want people to see the whole speech was threatening to Putin. This is not one line at the end out of context. And I saw Fox News even early this morning trying to spin that. And really people need to see how we're in a situation that's so dangerous with the current leadership that as scary as this is, we would be safer with Kamala invoking the 25th Amendment and her becoming the president. I'm serious. We would be.
I agree. I mean, I think she would be, even though she doesn't have any experience, and I think at least she could not make the same mistakes he's making. You know, I mean, she at least might be concerned with reelection. This guy doesn't. Biden has no concern about being reelected because he knows he's not going to run again.
Yeah, he's too out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. All right, Carl. Take care. Thanks for the call.
Hey, Brian, are you going to the Bitcoin conference?
No.
April 6th through 9th?
Why, is it in Miami or something?
Yeah, it's in Miami.
You know what? I didn't even know about it. When is it?
I think it's April 6th through the 9th.
I'll look into it, maybe. I'll see where it's at. I'll see where it's at, and I don't know what I would do there.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of interesting people that go to the, it's kind of
I'll look it up.
forward thinking.
I'll look it up. I'm not big into the crypto.
Oh, okay.
And you see the government's getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably started by the government, crypto.
I don't know.
Would you be surprised?
I don't think they would do something so decentralized. I think they would want control over it, and this is,
well, Biden's
kind of there's no one government that can control Bitcoin because there's it's a network that.
That's what they used to say about the internet. I tell people about this a lot. The internet, when Clinton was president and it was new, they called it the information superhighway, and it was going to be a place of freedom, and and people would be able to talk, and things and commerce would happen. And look at all the regulation, right? If you remember, there never used to be sales tax on the internet. Now there's sales tax. There's restrictions on speech, and the government created the internet. And I think that's when Al Gore said he invented the internet, he wasn't really lying. The government had their own version of it, the intranet, and that became the internet. And now look, they're monitoring every person's movement, not just in your home, but through the internet technology. They know every step that you take throughout your entire day on your cell phone and everything else. And that's the government. How many of us have, I don't want to say the devices because they'll all turn on, but those devices that you talk to, the Alexa and all the others, they're all listening to you all the time in your home, and cryptocurrency, I think, is a similar thing. The CIA and all these people have probably been funding their operations with it. And now, and if you think they can't regulate it, the United States government is talking about a federal crypto of the United States now, and and if with all the control,
scary.
Yeah, and I understand about
because they can make it digital, and they can attach you to certain
Mm-hmm.
digital coins, and they can shut your coins off.
That's right.
If you don't vote for them.
And I know I know a bit about crypto, more than you might think, and I understand about the different Ethereum and all of this. I know what it's all about and how it works and how it's its own decentralized thing. But really, you're telling me that with all the restrictions that you see on the internet, monitoring, they know when you go into a store, what store you're in. Just, for marketing purposes. You're really telling me that they can't monitor your crypto? And what if they shut off the big internet switch? How are you going to get your money?
Well, I mean, that's as long as someone has a computer, I guess you could get to it. But if they shut off the internet, if they shut off the electricity, then you're not going to get money out of the bank either. Well,
that's why we talk about gold and silver a lot on the Steve Kane Show with William Youngerman. Because when we've had hurricanes in Florida, and we have no power, no electricity, nothing. William Youngerman he opens for business with no electricity, no internet, nothing. with the medals. But anyway, appreciate the call. I'll
I've
look
been
into
buying
that though. What's it
silver.
called again in Miami? The Bitcoin what?
It's called it's called the Bitcoin conference. It's in Miami. And
I'll look it up.
Like hundreds of thousands of people will be there.
Bitcoin conference. I'm going to search it right now so I don't forget.
April 6th through 9th, I think, is when
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
what it is.
Like
It's
3
the
days.
yeah, I just pulled it up. It's let's see. Oh, it's starting soon. Okay, Bitcoin Miami Beach, which is under a state of emergency. Maybe I don't know if I'll go or not. It's pretty quick. Who are these people that are there? I don't know any
Brian.
of these people. All right, appreciate the call, man.
All right, bye.
All right, take care. I don't know. I don't even know who any of these people are. I don't know. They got an app. I don't know. It's not for me. Oh, White Noise, $2 super chat. Thank you, everyone. Thank White Noise for that. Oh boy, yeah. Believe me. Anything that makes any money, even 1/10 of 1 penny, the government's all over it. Okay, so I don't buy this thing that that's all decentralized and all this stuff. Nah, I don't buy any of that. All right, guys. Hey, listen, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. If you're new, my name's Brian Craig. Subscribe to my channel. You're going to love it. I live stream 7 days a week, and I add a lot of other content up here, too. My podcast, I vlog. In fact, I'm going to be making a vlog today that I'm not sure when it'll be up, but I'm going to make a vlog. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to go on an adventure today, not far from Mar-a-Lago, right down the street from Mar-a-Lago, actually. I'm going to go today to make a vlog about something and put it up here. But I put a lot of content on this channel, so make sure you subscribe. And everyone else who's already subscribed, please like the video. That helps me out a lot when you like the video. Hey, everyone, take care. Thanks for watching.